Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Seminar on Human Rights and Education held. Week-long workshop on disaster mitigation commences. Linguistic Department organizes workshop on Shina language. Now the details with your host Omar Malik. A day-long seminar on human rights with special focus on right to education was held by the Department of Law in the EMMRC auditorium. Dean and Head Faculty of Law Professor Muhammad Hussain, while presenting the welcome address, opined that every issue should be relooked without any binding to any history.
We need to be in the continuous process of relooking at the issues without being narrowly bound by the history or the precedent. My dear students, good intentions and fair conduct are two basic premises for being a good citizen. An improvement, which is a basic instinct with all the creations, including mankind, should remain the basic principle for guiding the activities of the human beings in every activity in all spheres of life. You are supposed to summon up courage in tough times, show respect and decency to your elders, more importantly, to your adversaries, and put yourself on the line publicly for something you believe in, and few hard knocks should not be a reason to stop you from doing good work, and that makes a difference.
Professor Anand Paliwal from University College of Law, Udaipur, while presenting the keynote address, said the human rights are interdependent.
It is the rights that has not been given to us by any law. It is the right that is not been given to us by any constitution. It is the right that is given to us by the Almighty when we take birth as human beings. We are all equally entitled to human rights without discrimination. These rights are all interrelated, interdependent and indivisible. Why I am saying that these are interrelated, interdependent and indivisible? Because if one of the human right is improved, it facilitates the other human rights. If one of the human right is being snatched or taken away or deprived of, it adversely affects the other human rights also. So these human rights are interrelated, interdependent and indivisible.
Vice Chancellor, Central University of Kashmir, Professor Mehrajuddin Mir, said that human rights are born with human beings.
As a keynote speaker has rightly said, where from these rights have come to us? These rights have not been given to anyone to us, but they are born with us. They are born with a human being, and that is why they are called as human rights. Well, right from the advent of the civilization, you have seen, rather you might have read from the history, that how these rights, which are basic rights of human beings, have been violated by those who have been at the helm of affairs.
In his remarks, Justice Retired B. Kirmani opined that majority of the people are ignorant about human rights of the others.
In my opinion, should commence with a vote of respect to that lady around Sharmila, who went on a 16-year-long fast for talking about the human rights of the inhabitants of her area, and did a great job. But the anticlimax came when she decided to give up her battle, or rather convert her battle into a thoroughly political medium, and decided to participate in the assembly elections. She polled only 90 votes. There's a big lesson in that. First, that perhaps those for whom these human rights are meant, for whom they are advocated, on whose behalf the conferences and all things are conducted, perhaps most of those people are not very conscious of the relevance of observance of human rights in their day-to-day life. The relevance of human rights is so much that if even 50% of the population, 50% among ourselves, start respecting the human rights of others, within 24 hours we will find that our society is entirely changed place. Because most of the violations of the human rights, our human rights, come from our fellow human beings. That's on the individual level.
In his presidential address, Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Indrabi expressed surprise at how Is it possible for a few men to legislate laws for millions of people without understanding them?
Every time I read a law, every time I hear a law made by somebody, I think it's a human right violation for me. Because how can I imagine somebody else telling me how to live? In itself is a contradiction. In the context of what we're talking about here, human rights, many people said that we inherit the right to get educated, very good. And then the law says that right to education for children, which in itself is a screw up, because the law in itself does not give children the right to property. How on earth can it give right to a child to get educated? It is in fact the law that education and proviso has to be added that get your children educated, not a law for a child to get educated.
Assistant Professor Dr. Hina Basharat conducted the proceedings of the function, while Dr. Fareed Ahmed Rafiqi proposed vote of thanks. The Department of Geography and Regional Development organized a week-long workshop on disaster mitigation approaches and strategies. Speaking on the inaugural session, Professor Tasawwur Ahmed Khan stressed the importance of organizing this workshop in the backdrop of September 2014 floods.
Considering this, the importance, the significance of this seminar, it assumes a great significance, especially when we consider the disasters that we had experienced for the last few years. I mean, most of us are still with the September 2014 floods, when our memories of the earthquake 2005 were not gone far off. So the faculty of the department decided that we must have an ideal platform for all the stakeholders who would assemble, who will discuss and deliberate upon the various disaster management strategies that are in vogue at national as well as at the state level. So it was in this context that this theme has been selected for this particular event.
Head Geography and Regional Development Professor Mohammad Sultan Butt argued that many policies initiated by the government and stakeholders have a positive impact mitigating disasters.
National Policy on Disaster Management 2009 came as a guiding force for many new initiatives on disaster management. This policy of 2009 also focused on to develop a community-oriented disaster management system by conducting training programs. Capacity building of other stakeholders at state, district levels have also been given due importance. We may agree that though all these initiatives have of course led to much better realization of adverse effects of disasters on human life and economic development, which is evidently reflected in the shift of government policy from the previous relief-centric approach to now management-based approach of disasters. However, in doing so, a systematic effort for institutionalization of disaster management policies needs to be initiated, especially in the domain of higher education.
Dr. S.R. Kumar from National Institute of Hydrology, Patna, opined that disasters can be solved by using mathematical equations.
Climatical problem or mathematical problem or what kind of physical problem is existing through that natural phenomena, just like temperature, humidity, sunshine, flood, drought, etc. We are actually habituated to project our model through physical walk on the ramp. But in our hydrological solution, we just we do same thing through mathematical equation. But through using the mathematical principles, we can solve like drought, like flood, like impact of climate change. So there is no need to visit the further place like on the top of Himalayas or Mount Everest all the time. We can solve the related problems on our computers also.
Professor Chandan Ghosh from National Institute of Disaster Management, New Delhi, expressed hope that during the week-long workshop, students would themselves devise ways to mitigate disasters.
We would like to take you forward in the 6 days as a beginning in taking each of us become a partner in taking disaster mitigation, or rather disaster by taking its just year that you come under our control. And in that case, we have to be a partnership attitude rather than reactive or giving a direction to others.
Professor Ishtiaq Ahmed Mayer, co-convener of the workshop, proposed vote of thanks while Dr. Parvez Ahmed conducted the proceedings.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Kashmir, Srinagar, who had given his kind consent to preside over this function and to inaugurate this workshop conference on disaster mitigation today on the 13th of March 2017. However, he had to go to Jammu to attend some important meeting. Vice Chancellor, sir, the Department of Geography is always indebted to you for your constant support and encouragement.
The Department of Linguistics organized a 10-day workshop on standardization of Shina language. The inaugural function of the workshop was held in the Gandhi Bhavan auditorium, in which academics, scholars and students from various faculties took part. Head Department of Linguistics, Professor Ijaz Ahmed Sheikh, presented the welcome address.
Linguistically, Jammu and Kashmir is a multilingual area having a tremendous linguistic diversity. Various language communities inhabit the state, which include speakers of Dard group of languages, including languages like Kashmiri, Shina, and Koistani, speakers of Indo-Aryan language family, which includes the languages like Punjabi, Urdu, Hindi, Dogri, Lahanda, Pahari, and Gojri, speakers of languages of Tibeto-Burman family like Ladakhi and its dialects. It is interesting to note that the speakers of Indo-Iranian languages like Pashto and unclassified languages like Brushaski are also found in the state. Tribal languages also comprise an important part of the linguistic scenario of the state. The Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir has registered 11 scheduled tribes, which include Balti, Beda, Bota, Dard, Brokpa, Changpa, Gara, Bakawli, Gadi, and Spi.
Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Muhammad Ashraf Wani, advised Linguistics Department to spread the Kashmiri dictionary to every corner of the state.
आप डिक्शनरी जो कश्मीर की है ना उसको फैलाओ इसको और सिविलाइजेशन सामने आएगा. हर वर्ड में एक सिविलाइजेशन का कुछ न कुछ है. इट इज प्रिजर्व्ड इन दैट. साइंस होगा, टेक्नोलॉजी होगी, समाजी कंडीशन, सोशल कल्चर, ये आपके सामने आ जाएंगे. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. नंबर 2 ये कि ये लैंग्वेज है, जो वर्ड फंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज, इसको स्टडी करो और यू विल अंडरस्टैंड राइज एंड ग्रोथ ऑफ civilization.
Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Indrabi opined that no language becomes extinct unless the people speaking that language do not identify with it.
Zaban zahin extinct gazhan unless we are not proud of our identity. Extinct tabhi hoti hai zaban jab we don't want to be associated or identified as who we are. Kashmiri zaban ka bhi yahi hal hai. Kashmiri zaban ti chi halat gamaz. Mesh boziman bishas last generation yus kashur bolan. Magar mesh hamish roodmut itas dilas maz na yoy kyul hu ki mein bach chhne tut kashur bolan ki yus bu bolan. Tami khatir chi me beard tulmut ye ki bu chus kuni master university maz yus pan subject chi parnawan kashur pat. Yimna sciencey concepts. Yim chim sari ko behtareen samajh aamit sirf kashir pat. Bishus bachan panjan imay ithe pat kashir pat tara. I mane go na English nu parne. But it cannot be at the expense of Kashmir. Beim saat bach lakut chu asan. Am saat Allah Taala mis fasahat balagat vari asan thamts. Teach him 3 languages. But do not undermine his native language.
On the occasion, department's journal was also released. With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you have missed some part of the program, you can log on to emmrckashmir.com, where you can watch the whole episode. Send us your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Politics is not an end, but a means. It's not a product, but a process. It's the art of government.